Exodus 35. Moses assembled the whole community of Israel and said to them, "These are the things that the Lord has commanded you to do. In 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day there must be a holy day for you, a Sabbath of complete rest to the Lord. Anyone who does work on it will be put to death. You must not kindle a fire in any of your homes on the Sabbath day." Okay, Moses spoke to the whole community of Israel. This is the word that the Lord has commanded. Okay, so we're finishing up there. What do we have? Okay, so weird on some level here that 35 is just jumping back to this command we've had before, because you have previously removing the veil, Moses having the veil. So he assembles everyone. He talks about the Sabbath, a complete rest to the Lord. The idea of rest in the Old Testament and the search for... Okay, so they're talking about, hey, welcome in, Onesimus. Howdy. Hello, Christopher. The idea of rest is... So the ancient idea of rest. A king is going to establish his kingdom, and when he sits on the throne, you enter into the king's rest, because the king is established, his kingdom is under the rule of the king. You are in the rest of the king. So entering into the rest of the Lord is that God is sovereign. He is the one who is seated on the throne. He is the one who has put under everything in order. And so entering into the rest is a need, and there is no need for work, that being the idea. So to work is to deny in some ways that the king is seated on the throne. So when we are entering into a complete rest of the Lord, so holy day means it is set apart, it is different. So they are slaves, they did not get days off, they did not get holiday pay, they did not get vacations, they didn't get anything. They worked every day. Now they are going to have a day of rest that you do not need to work. You trust in the Lord. You put your faith in him. He is the king on the throne. And as we already know about the manna, he's providing for you. So anyone who does work will be put to death. This seems like a very extreme punishment, being put to death. Now, there is no evidence that this is put into place. We do have, as we're reading through John, all the accusations of Jesus doing work on the Sabbath day, but that is all around the Pharisees putting up fences around to make sure you don't do any work. So it's their definition of work and trying to figure that out. And here, must not kindle a fire in any of your homes on the Sabbath day. What do we have on the kindle a fire? Kindling a fire receives special attention here because the people thought that kindling a fire was not work, but only a preparation for some kind. The law makes sure that this too was not done. So kindling a fire, I believe, is going to be starting a fire from scratch. So if you have a fire, you keep a fire going. Apparently, maybe keeping a fire going, not seen as work. I mean, if it's cold, you want to have heat, so you would want to have a bunch of coals. You know, they get into later on figuring out what they did and did not do and how they should have corrected for it. But you're not to do any of that on the Sabbath day. Moses spoke to the whole community of Israel. This is the word of the Lord has commanded. Take an offering for the Lord. Let everyone who has a willing heart bring an offering to the Lord. Okay, I want to look at willing heart there before we move further. Papsio, as we learned yesterday, only the law of Moses were permitted on the Sabbath. Well, that's what they're arguing about is well, when you get into the New Testament, they're arguing about, is Sabbath the most important rule, keeping the Sabbath, or is loving your neighbor the most important rule? And keeping the Sabbath is the idea of strict obedience, and loving your neighbor at times ends up violating the strictness of it. So that's what they're arguing about in Jesus' time. Okay, willing heart. Heart is a genitive of specification, clarifying in what way they might be willing. The heart refers to their will, their choice. So, yes, a willing heart. You know, are they able to? Yeah, exactly, Papsio. Jesus said they were hypocrites because they would allow some work, but not others. Yeah, and that's just it. That's just it. When two of these ordinances, rules, laws, however, commands, however you want to label them, when you cannot uphold both, how do you make a decision? You know, your neighbor falls in a well and is injured on the Sabbath, but you're to do no work on the Sabbath. Do you get your injured neighbor out of the well? Well, if you're going to go strict obedience to law, I can't. Sabbath, sorry. But they're using Sabbath as an excuse to get out of doing things that they should be doing. And so, yeah, that's what that turns into. All right. So let everyone who has a willing heart bring an offering to the Lord: gold, silver, bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, fine linen, goat's hair, ram skins dyed red, fine leather, acacia wood, olive oil for the light spices, for the anointing oil, and for fragrant incense, onyx stones, and other gems for mounting on the ephod and the breastplate. It is such, in my mind, a weird list of things to bring. I mean, I just can't imagine coming and giving my offering in yarn, like, or goat's hair. Let me bring some goat's hair. Like, it's such a foreign idea here, but we know why. Because these were the things that were needed for the temple. Okay? So they are the raw materials needed for the temple. There is no place to go buy these things. So if you have scarlet yarn, then you could give it. If you have fine linen, you could give it. If you have goat's hair, you could give it. Now, you could, kill a goat and get some goat's hair. Ram skids dyed red or fine leather. You could be making some of that, but it sounds like they already have these things in possession. The gold, the silver, the bronze, those are going to be taken and turned into items for the temple. So no, it's not like gold, silver, and bronze in order for us to purchase things. No, the gold, silver, and bronze are going to be used for things. The acacia wood is going to be used for things. So every one of these things is an ingredient for the building of the tabernacle and or the items in it for worship. Every skilled person among you is to come and make all that the Lord has commanded: the tabernacle with its tent, its cover, its glass, its frames, its crossbars, its post, and its bases; the ark with its poles, the atonement lid, and the special curtain that conceals it; the table with its poles and all its vessels; and the bread of presence; the lampstand for the light and its accessories, its lamps and oil for the light; and the altar of incense with its poles, the anointing oil and the fragrant incense; the hanging for the door at the entrance of the tabernacle; the altar for burnt offering with its bronze grating, that is, on it, its poles and its utensils; the large basin and its pedestal; the hangings of the courtyard, its post and its bases; and the curtain for the gateway to the courtyard. So why have these things all repeated again? I think one of those things is a reminder of what the offering is going to. So I don't know about you, but occasionally when you're doing an offering, you will identify that, hey, this special offering that we're doing is for this purpose, and the money will go towards these various things. So if you were doing a mission trip, you would talk about this is going to cover the cost of the the travel, the lodging, the food, whatever supplies are needed. So you would label all of those things out because some people are going to be moved by one of those items more than another. And so here, as we're inviting everyone to give an offering, then we're going to tell you what the offering will go for, so that you're not, I mean, you ever wonder at times, like, someone's just collecting an offering, you're like, well, what is the money going towards? I really want to know what it goes towards and what you're going to use it for. So here, no doubt about it, here's what everything is going for. Continuing, tent pegs for the tabernacle and the tent pegs for the courtyard and their ropes, the woven garments for serving in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments for his sons to minister as priests. So the whole community of the Israelites went out from the presence of Moses, everyone whose heart stirred him to action, and everyone whose spirit was willing came and brought the offering to the Lord for the work of the tent of meeting, for all its service, and for the holy garments. So I just love this phrase here. Everyone whose heart stirred him to action, and everyone whose spirit came and brought the offering for the Lord. So whoever one's spirit was willing came. So your heart is stirred and your spirit is willing. Like two components there. Your heart is stirred and then your spirit is willing. So this is one of those things that I at times use to make a determination to give to something or not. I can be compelled that something is indeed a worthy cause, a worthwhile cause, and yet my heart isn't stirred to give to that cause, even though I know it's worthwhile, and I'm not then willing to give to it. And so there's other causes which my heart is stirred to give. Not to pick on anybody or who believes in a cause, because your heart is stirred. Operation Christmas Child, it does not stir my heart to give. However, Angel Tree does. They're both giving gifts to kids. Toys for Tots doesn't stir my heart to give. Another one that's giving toys to kids. Why does one stir my heart? Well, Angel Tree, if you don't know, Angel Tree gives presents to those who are incarcerated. And there's just something about that thinking about kids whose one parent is incarcerated and has no toy or no possibility of it stirs my heart. The other thing is there's some nostalgia with it that my children, when they were younger, got to go to church, go to the angel tree, pick an angel off the tree. We would look for one that was the same age as they were, and then we would take my children to go shopping for those children. So my heart is stirred, and I'm willing to give, even though the others are doing very similar things. They're all giving to children or at Christmas time would need. My heart isn't always stirred. So this is one of those things. My heart is stirred and my spirit is willing, and therefore I give. And that's what God is, or Moses is telling the people. That's how they are to give and respond for the building of the tabernacle. This is not a demanded offering. This is free will offering only. There's no obligation here. The obligation is later on after the tabernacle's built for the service of the tabernacle. There's some future ones, but right here, there's no temple tax. It's just we're asking for all of the things necessary to build it. Just JD, morning. They came, men and women alike, all who had willing hearts. They brought brooches, earrings, rings, and ornaments, all kinds of gold jewelry. And everyone came who waved a wave offering of gold to the Lord. So one of the things that I just love this imagery of is the wave offering of, look at what I'm bringing, look at what I'm bringing, God, can you see it? I don't know what they say when they're waving it. Maybe they say nothing and they don't act like little kids, but the wave offering is a presentation. They're waving it before God and presenting it. It's all out of love that it is being given. Everyone who had blue, purple, or scarlet yarn, fine linen, goat's hair, ram skins, dyed red, or fine leather brought them. So we're going to go back through the list again of the things that are brought. Doesn't this seem like it's unnecessary? But no, we're going to go back through it so that it sounds like it's, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff here, because we're going to build up to something here at the end. So that's why we're taking the time to reread through it. We're building up tension here towards what is going to culminate from the bringing. So they're bringing the blue, the purple, the scarlet yarn. They're bringing the fine linen, the goat's hair, the ram skins dyed red, or they're brought fine leather. Everyone making an offering of silver or bronze brought it as an offering to the Lord. And everyone who had acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. Every woman who was skilled spun with her hands and brought what she had spun, blue, purple, or scarlet yarn, or fine linen. And all the women whose hearts stirred them to action and who were skilled spun goat's hair. The leaders brought onyx stones and other gems to be mounted for the ephod and the breast pieces, the spices and olive oil for the light, for the anointing oil, and for the fragrant incense. The Israelites brought a freewill offering to the Lord, every man and woman whose heart was willing to bring materials for all the work that the Lord, through Moses, had commanded them to do. So, free will offerings, every man, every woman whose heart was willing, brought what they had, brought what they could. Zacatech, welcome in. Moses said to the Israelites, "See, the Lord has chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. He has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, with understanding, with knowledge, in all kinds of work, to design artistic designs, to work in gold and silver and in bronze, and in cutting stones for their settings, and in cutting wood, to do work in every artistic craft." Okay, so we already had God telling Moses this. Now we have Moses telling the people. And again, we're building. So this is repetition. We already know all this. We've already read all this, and we're hearing it again because God tells Moses, Moses is telling the people. I mean, imagine this, okay? That your church goes through an interview process and everyone on the search team figures everything out about the person that is coming, and then they don't do any way of introduction, just say, here's the person doing the work. And you're like, what? You hired them? What are you going to tell us about them? We don't know anything about them. What is it about this person that can do the work? So we're getting both sides of the story. We're getting God giving instruction to Moses and Moses relaying it all to the people. So the repeating is very, very necessary. To design artistic designs in work in gold and silver and bronze and cutting stones for setting, in cutting wood, to do work of every artistic craft. And he has put it in his heart to teach. He and Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. He has filled them with skill to do all kinds of work as craftsmen, as designers, as embroiderers in blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and in fine linen as weavers. They are craftsmen in all the work and artistic design. So God has called and put these two in charge, given them every skill that we need. The work is going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic. Okay.